We All Fall Down by Amanda Lee. Chapter 1. Mad World. A ruler drunk with power, Razik has claimed and laid waste to the surrounding kingdom. Only until he has also claimed Spiriton as his will his thirst be quenched. Spiriton, the realm of all magic. Razik wanted power that only magic can provide. Seated on a gilded throne, adorned with jewels and stone crystals, Razik believed the properties of the throne preserved and kept him invincible to all his enemies. Refusing the diadem of kingship, Razik preferred ruler instead, and as ruler he exercised the power of dictator. An attempted uprising and civil war began, but was over within an hour. The civilians were no match for Razik's army of beastlies. Razik was feared like no other ruler before him. For this reason, every kind of honor was for Razik. Sacrificial ceremony, contests, and votive offerings in every sacred and public place. By tribes and among everyone in every kingdom he ruled over, which was 8 kingdoms in total. Razik wore a crown made of black onyx rimmed with gold. His main palace was made entirely of gray marble. There stands one who can not only control but also siphon magic, as well as being a conduit to the magical essence itself. His name is Tylo. Tylo's ambitions were far different from the mad ruler. Tylo, unique in stature and being the only human in the kingdom, he wanted nothing more than to see those less fortunate prosper in good health and happiness. The elderly, the children, and the women were among the meek he protected and kept safe. Alongside was his loving and devoted wife Calixtra. Under the false guise of charity for the less fortunate, the mad ruler invited both Tylo and Calixtra to feast in his gray marble hall to discuss how he can help better the lives of his citizens after the beastlies' attack during the uprising. The common folk of the kingdom were left feeling hopeless. The hopeless woke every day to a world that is no longer a place to call home. Now, with the exposure to Tylo's magic, it awakens the spirits of the meek. Tylo's ability are presumed to come from his own mystic nature, showcasing Tylo in having a natural gift at magic. Once inside the great gray marble hall, pleasantries were not wasted. The palace was the most luxurious in all the kingdoms. No expense has been spared when building and decorating this jaw-dropping structure. The mad ruler demanded that Tylo give him all the magical powers he possessed, so that the mad ruler may be able to drink from the forbidden nectar of Spiriton. In return, rule the world, then the cosmos. Tylo, being a peaceful and patient man, explained to the mad ruler it is impossible. Only a human can access and travel through. A human spirit is not bound nor grounded to any place of existence. This upset the mad ruler.
Quickly! Seize!
Before the mad ruler could finish shouting his command, a heptagon of light appeared. Tylo grabbed Calixtra by the hand. Both took a step back into the light. Just before the portal closed, Tylo saw the maddening grin on Razik's face.
I want his heart,
growled Razik with piercing eyes upon Calixtra. Back in their sanctuary, safe haven at the Citadel, Tylo gathered all 500 occupants that sought refuge there. These underprivileged and malnourished, who were robbed of their joy, left in social poverty and abuse under the rule of Razik. With no time to lose, Tylo psychically linked with all of them, showing them all that transpired with the mad ruler, and for the first time showed them Speriton, where he will be sending them all to live out their lives in peace and harmony. The trees surrounding the citadel grew big and strong, cloaking the citadel. Tylo pulled all the moisture from the sky above. Thunder cracked, vibrating the ground they stood upon. Children holding one another, women weeping, and the elderly gazing peacefully amongst themselves. 2 giant bolts of lightning came crashing down, making direct contact with Tylo's arms that were stretched up high. Whirling sounds without wind in front of Tylo.
"Quickly, all of you, make haste,"
shouted Tylo. Confused expressions, all their eyes searching for a portal or opening of some sort. Calixtra put her hands on an elderly couple and guided them in front of Tylo. Calixtra had warmth and sweetness, affectionateness, femininity, naturalness, grace, sympathy, generosity, and courage. She was Tylo's heart. They were gone with haste. The rest of the 500 followed. The last child clung onto Calixtra's arm with tears in their eyes and whimpered, "Farewell." All was silent. Tylo and Calixtra tried to enter but could not. Trickles of rain began to fall before them. Within the trickles, a voice that sounded like 3 spoke.
"You know what you have done is forbidden. They are innocent, so will not suffer any consequences for your actions. But you, Tilu, are no longer allowed."
The trickles then stopped. The sounds of wild boar hooves and yelling approached. Tylo, frantic and looking into his heart's eyes. Calixtra touched his face and said,
"Do it."
The beastly henchmen arrive and enter what once was a safe space. The beastlies are arrogant and cruel, with the lust for brutality and crudeness. Their brows are so overgrown one can barely make out eyes. Their noses are often found bleeding due to constant picking at it. They have a wobbling stride to them, hunched backs yet monstrously large and strong. None but one remained in the citadel, a withered old man sitting against the wall, tethered garments, mumbling to himself.
"Where?"
growled the white-haired beastly with blue skin. Spotting the feeble man, he rushed toward and lifted him off the ground. The withered old man had his eyelids sunken in and shut. He could not communicate nor see.
"They left this one behind."
Laughed a purple-skinned beastly, mocking the old withered man. Another beastly, whose large nose hung over his mouth, slapped the withered old man out the grip of the blue beastly.
"This was a good."
Snorting and laughing. Frail, brittle, and weak, they let the old withered man live. They figured living a tormented and suffering life is a fate far worse than death itself. Chapter 2. The Escape Club. The 7 friends sit in front of their computer monitors, hanging on to every word of Hiroyuki, the dungeon master's story, attentively taking notes as well.
Right now, Blanche and Risotto are standing over Tilu. I need the rest of you to roll a d20 to check the order.
What do you mean?
Asked Dean.
Quick announcement. I would like to introduce El Rey, the Bard Tiefling. He is a new player in this new campaign, as well as D&D itself.
Announced Hiroyuki.
How's it going? I'm excited to play. Also, the first time I've used this Discord chat. Pretty cool that we can all play on here. And, I also once attended a LARPing, so that was cool.
Said Dean, nervous and excited.
Hi.
Hello. What's up?
The guild welcomed him. Dean rolls a perfect 20 and is up.
Blanche, Risotto, then El Rey, same time tomorrow. Hopefully, you all took good notes.
Hiroyuki said, logging off the Discord chat. Dean and his new role-playing gaming guild said their goodbyes and logged off, anticipating tomorrow's campaign.
Did you feed Grayson today?
Asked Addison. Grayson was the sweetest and friendliest outdoor cat. It came to Addison's back door every day at 3 p.m. for petting and food. Grayson often left a dead cricket on her back steps as well.
I did,
replied her father, staying focused on the game. Addison waited on her father's turn in their game of Mancala. Both enjoyed playing after dinner.
I can help you sand, buff, and wax the dinner table. It's looking a bit warped,
added Addison. Her father smiled in response.
I'll be fine. You go on ahead. I don't want to keep your fans waiting,
replied Addison's father.
Fans? Psh, it's just a couple of friends that want to check out my new turntable and sounds,
said Addison, claiming victory over the game.
Ah, you distracted me,
her father complained lightheartedly.
Sure, Pops.
Addison kisses her father on his left temple.
Loser puts away the game. Okay, bye.
Addison cheered and walked away. Later that evening, after the jam session in the park, Addison is closing the trunk to the family car. Deidre, her friend, catches up to her.
Hey, almost forgot I'm not going to be able to make it to filming tomorrow. Did you want to take my place? It's really easy. You will be a zombie extra,
exclaimed Deidre. Addison was trying for a zombie extra ever since she saw the announcement in the newspaper a week ago. Wes Anderson was collaborating with Tim Burton in a zombie comedy horror film. Her two favorite directors creating side by side was a dream come true for Addison, especially the film being shot so close to her home, literally in her town. But by the time she tried signing up, there were no more openings left. Trying her best to contain her excitement exploding within, clasping her hands together and bouncing.
What? That's so cool. Heck yes, I do. I mean, I will. Yes. Answer is yes,
exclaimed Addison.
Cool beans. Yep, easy money. Okay, I will text you the details,
confirmed Deidre, hugging Addison, then walked to her own vehicle.
Not complaining, but why are you turning down the gig?
Addison asked loudly. Deidre stops and does a 180, replying,
My mother has been laid out and not feeling herself. Something about the Schumann resonance.
She gives a sigh.
I don't know. She was adamant on me staying home tomorrow, so...
Deidre waved and continued walking away. Deidre's mother was very much in touch with nature in every way imaginable. She shared with her daughter Deidre something was not right. She could feel it in the waters and in the ground as she walked barefoot often outside on the grass.
Dad, I'm home.
announced Addison.
In here!
Shouted her father from the TV room. He was folding his laundry while watching Watership Down.
Really, right now, Dad? That's such a sad movie.
Shaking her head, she went to the kitchen for yogurt,
What? I like this movie.
talking to himself.
Hey, just a heads up, I got a paid gig happening tomorrow, so I will be leaving the game early. Super stoked. I'm gonna work on my Tarman walk and groans tonight.
Text message sent to Hiroyuki. Addison followed it up with a zombie emoji. Hiroyuki was first introduced to Dungeons & Dragons through the 1983 cartoon series when he was just 6 years old. At age 11, he joined his first guild, consisting of 6 players and a dungeon master. Hiroyuki was the youngest. While 3 were in junior high, 2 other players were in high school. Their dungeon master was a 24-year-old and worked at the library in town. The kids all met up at the library every Monday after school. It was a very small town, with 2 to 5 people on average of foot traffic every day. Mr. Johnson, a retired English teacher who stopped by every morning, he read a variety of newspapers, one from each continent, while his wife Elva, who was also a retiree, enjoyed reading the magazines and leaving her extra coupons in a small box for others near the entryway of the library. Hiroyuki's guild was a strong brotherhood, each from different backgrounds and ethnicities.
The line is secure, I assure you,
said the stockbroker. For some unknown reason, the internet was dropping nationwide.
Good. There's 3 more shares I'd like to sell from the mushroom account,
confirmed Hiroyuki.
Yes, sir, and in 3 days you will see.
Stockbroker was suddenly cut off.
I would like to know when the systems will be back online. I know how long a sell takes,
stated Hiroyuki impatiently. Taking a deep breath, Hiroyuki apologizes for his brass tone before hanging up on the stockbroker. Inheriting stocks from his late parents at a young age, Hiroyuki was also raised by his aunt Usagi. He has never worked a 9-to-5 job. Hiroyuki wakes up and practices Aido, has breakfast, buys and sells stocks for 1 hour, then he has the rest of the time for anything. Hiroyuki never married, nor has any children of his own. He prefers his tranquil life, expensive tugboat, and tabletop games with his guild. It took Hiroyuki 5 years to become a stellar dungeon master. Jeffrey lugged his electric lawnmower, which was surprisingly lightweight, up from his basement.
I'll be right there. I just have to use the bathroom right quick,
shouted Lydia. Jeffrey was already outside with the electric lawnmower. Standing at 2.5 to 3 inches were scores of dandelions covering his yard.
Eradication day has come,
announced Jeffrey with confidence and placing his Oakley shades over his eyes.
No, stop,
yelled his wife Lydia.
I told you I wanted to harvest the dandelions for teas, jellies, and medicinal salve.
As she joyfully waved her basket in the air, Lydia made her way to her yellow, promising pom-poms. Jeffrey stood there smiling at his whimsically adorable wife, who was first his best friend.
Another project, Lydia? You still have to work on your quilt and bake breads, which you said you were doing today, by the way.
Jeffrey said with a smile, now dutifully helping her collect her bounty. Jeffrey was taller than Lydia, him standing at 6 foot and 2 inches, and Lydia at 5 feet 4 inches. He had long arms with big hands. Her gentle giant, she called him.
Okay, let's leave the rest for Basil,
exclaimed Lydia with a smile from ear to ear. Basil was the name she gave to the groundhog that would wander into their backyard once a week. Then, on occasion, Basil and 2 small ground hog younglings that Lydia named Pippin and Mary. The small family enjoyed eating the dandelions.
And then, I'm still going to do all that too. You have your tabletop guild and I have my projects,
Lydia stated. She had spunk, moxie, and a gift for multitasking.
Oh, and if I get really good at this, I could sell my dandelion stuff to that cute boutique across the street from our shop, Lady Grey. I love that name, it totally fits, especially since it holds tea party events there.
Lydia rambled on whenever she got excited.
Don't forget tomorrow's game day. I'll be back at the shop by 5 p.m. to help close up.
Jeffrey was excited. It's been a month since Dean opened his mechanic shop. Dean's parents were more than happy to co-sign a loan for him. They assumed it was for a car. Instead, to their delight, their son was becoming an entrepreneur, a very successful one at that. First 3 months of his business, and he was able to pay off the loan. The mechanic shop has been very successful. It's a 1-car garage with an attached micro walk-in office. Dean is the only mechanic. His other employee is Benny. Benny is not only the foreman, but also front desk register. He spent some time over a couple marijuana plants. Benny was growing some in his attic back in the late 1990s. A wasp nest was forming on the attic vent inside Benny's home, and when he called an exterminator, the smell of weed was as strong as the buzzing of wasps. The exterminator reported Benny later that day. Benny appreciated the chance Dean gave him. Before the mechanic shop, Benny was working at a thrift store where he lived as well. Now he has a small house and a hobby. The shop's success is owed exclusively to its hours, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Very convenient hours for many. Not to mention how quickly Dean operates on the vehicles. His business is well sought out. He closes the shop every other day. Gives Dean time for somewhat of a social life.
Lunchtime.
Benny arrives from Antone's restaurant. It's family-owned Italian cuisine. Dean lets out a loud gasp and coughs.
You all right?
Asks Benny as he pats Dean on his back.
Too much red pepper flake? I told you to go easy on it last time.
Benny said with a mouthful of pasta. Grabbing his composure and brushing Benny's arm away, Dean remembers.
I forgot. Tomorrow is my turn in the campaign,
exclaimed Dean with childlike awe and excitement.
Cool,
replied Benny, taking a bite of his garlic breadstick. Coming back from her quiet morning walk, Emma grabbed her bento box from the fridge. The perks of being the first family in the newly built subdivision, along with the house at the end of the cul-de-sac being yours. Every morning at 7, Emma utilized the newly built sidewalk and walked for 30 minutes, except on Saturdays. Emma sat down on the bar stool next to the kitchen island, enjoying her sliced red apples that were sprinkled with a Mexican seasoning. It contained sugar, salt, and spices. Her father walked into the kitchen.
Had a good walk?
Asked her father, handing Emma a bottle of Fiji water he took out of the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Emma replied, drinking half the bottle in one gulp.
Have you started your thesis yet?
Asked her father.
No, I haven't decided how I want to start it,
responded Emma.
Morning, mi amor.
Emma's mother said, full of cheer, kissing her husband on the cheek.
Are you going to want breakfast too, mija?
Her mother asked, preparing to cook chorizo and eggs.
Well, don't take too long to decide. Harvard is especially strict with their deadlines. Talk to your advisor if you have to,
instructed Emma's father. He turned and handed a cup of coffee to his wife. Seeing her daughter's discomfort, Emma's mother quickly changed the subject. Her mother had long, wavy, light brown hair down to her waist. Emma inherited her father's light blonde hair and had her mother's dark brown eyes. Emma's mother carried a heavy Spanish accent.
I sold another one of my totes online, the rainbow one. You liked, Emma.
Her mother said with glee. Emma's mother, Giulietta, bought all her fabrics from Lori, a sweet older lady that owned her own fabric shop in town. Giulietta runs an online boutique, while Emma's father, Liam, owns a furniture store in the next town over.
That's great, Mom.
Emma was happy for her mother. Sitting a good foot away in their breakfast nook, Liam reads the news on his iPad. Emma speaks low, in earshot to Giulietta's ears only.
So, all day tomorrow, I will be working on my thesis in my room instead of our library, as to not be disturbed. Okay, Mom?
Emma said with a nervous smile. She will really be gaming online with her guild. Her mother responded with nothing more than a smile and a nod as she heated up some corn tortillas for breakfast to go with the chorizo and eggs. Gary's dog finally stopped barking.
We should incorporate Brunson's bark into the beginning of the song,
Neil recommended, tuning his guitar. Gary smirked and played a quick bass line. Russell, the drummer, was running late for practice. He was the older one of the group, just turned 50 years old, getting his life back together after losing his family to a messy divorce. He lost it all: his kids' respect, his wife's love, and his job as a school bus driver. Now he delivers for a family-owned laundry truck. Russell has a few more deliveries to do. The three of them had a lot in common. All three were military veterans, each from different branches. All three were vegans, so naturally their band's name was Garden Variety. They got together twice a week at Gary's garage to practice. Garden Variety played a gig or two on the weekends at the American Legion in town.
Incoming transmission,
alerted Spock repeatedly. Gary answered his cell phone. Ringtone stopped.
Speak. I see, okay. Guess we'll see you tomorrow. Cool. Later.
Gary then flipped close his cell phone.
That Russell? He ain't coming?
Asked Neil. Neither of them wanted to state the obvious. Laundry wasn't the only thing the family-owned business was delivering. At $80 an hour and being on call, Russell didn't ask questions, and neither did his bandmates. Gary nodded in response and continued his bass lines. Neil followed along with an Egyptian scale. Brunson wagged his tail and howled. Their jam session only lasts for an hour. That's how long Gary's wife compromised for.
Same time tomorrow, right? I got my campaign during the day,
Neil said, placing his guitar in its case. Gary confirmed with a nod. Gary was a man of few words. His larynx was injured while serving. While in, Gary was unfortunately exposed to toxic fumes in proximity near burn pits in Afghanistan. The monthly military compensation is not enough to fix what the military broke in him. Neil looked both ways before crossing the street to his one-bedroom bungalow. Neither of them sang, but in between their songs they took requests. Someone from the crowd would go up and sing. It was live karaoke, and the people loved it. Every gig, it never fails. Someone always requests, I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight by Cutting Crew. The bell rang. The kindergartners were sitting on their small desks straight and poised, all with smiles on their faces. Corey began taking roll call for her class.
Everyone stand up quietly next to your desk.
Corey instructed. She stood in front of her chalkboard and class. Their morning ritual was as follows. Corey and her class sing and dance to a song. The song is sung and danced faster and faster until only one student is left standing.
Remember to take big, deep breaths in between.
Corey reminded her class.
Do your ears hang blur? Do they wobble? Do they frizzle? Can you tie the man in the? Can you tie the man in bow? Can you drill them over your shoulder like a continental soldier? Do your ears hang blur?
Corey and the children in class sang in unison. Lively and with their hands flopping on each side of their head, one by one the children giggle and sigh with disappointment, sitting back at their desks. Only Christopher remained. He won a Garfield orange ink stamper.
I don't want you stamping anyone while in class.
Corey said with a smile.
Okay, listen up. I'm not repeating morning announcements. There will be no school tomorrow. But when we return on Friday, there will be a book fair in the library.
Announced Corey. The next day, during the guild meetup and campaign, Hiroyuki is about to begin his storytelling once again to move the game along. Then, 4 knocks can be heard coming from his front door.
Strange. I'm not expecting anyone, much less a delivery. Sorry, guys. Give me a second.
Hiroyuki paused the campaign.
You all like the skies here? Took me a while on Canva to create it. I figured there is no other map that I've seen on Discord like it. We'll be the first.
Feeling content and pleased with his designs, Jeffrey waited for compliments. Hiroyuki came back just in time to give Jeffrey a compliment.
I forgot to mention for some reason, it does not want to load.
What? So I'm the only one that can see it?
Jeffrey said, disappointed.
Apparently.
Chimed in Emma.
Ready your notes. We begin at the blacksmith's forge.
Began the dungeon master. A tired blacksmith stands inside his forge.
Tomorrow begins the full moon, my love.
Holding and caressing his silver medallion around his neck, the blacksmith gazes into the garnet stone in the center. Without warning, women and children start screaming. Rushing to the entryway of his forge, the blacksmith is met with a blow to the forehead.
What is this?
Tylo muttered as he regained consciousness. Sitting slumped against the wall of his forge, a small candle burned next to him. Tylo used glamour to distract the beastlies in the citadel, but not before hiding Calixtra in a garnet stone. He has kept her in there ever since, keeping her safe from the Mad King. Only during full moons and a careful watch does he release her to share but a fleeting moment under the stars and the moon. The humanoid bat creatures with white eyes attacked and pillaged the village that Tylo, now the blacksmith, resided in.
The 6 of you show up at the blacksmith's forge.
The dungeon master sets the scene, each showing up to pick up the special item each had commissioned him to make. The blacksmith was beaten badly, and his hands burned, his medallion stolen. Being in hiding for years, along with his love hidden within the medallion. Desperate, he begs the motley crew to help retrieve the medallion. In exchange, the little magic he has left will be put in each of the items he forged for them. Blanche, Risotto, and El Rey stand around the blacksmith thinking about their next move. In the meantime, the others are outside.
You are not well.
Risotto kneels next to the blacksmith.
They took her,
said Tylo the blacksmith as he searched his chest where his medallion once hung. An experienced criminal first and wizard second, Risotto, an elf, the only of his kind to obtain connections and contacts within the criminal underworld, a killer for hire if necessary, if the bounty is worth it. More valuable than coin for Risotto was the hat of a wizard. Hats that lay upon a wizard's head not only hold the wizard's thoughts and secrets, but more importantly, his magic. No one is born bad, not even orcs. Evil is taught, forced upon them. As a 13-year-old apprentice, Risotto had an abusive master. It took just 1 month to break the young apprentice's spirit, with a dark cloud casting over Risotto's heart. With time, his master was the first to feel the rage of the storm he created. Risotto turned his master into a sentient stain that laid on the cobblestone floor. He then placed firewood over, and then his cauldron, which he used quite often. El Rey's attention moves him outside the forge.
A stubborn lot,
said with a half grin. Standing before him were 4 6-foot-tall nocturnal bat creatures blocking the entrance to the blacksmith's forge. He strummed his lyre even harder, shouting vocals to add to his attack.
Hear me, dark spawns, cast down into thy dark crypt,
began the song of the tiefling bard. At 7 years of age, El Rey started playing music. His mother, a tiefling bar wench, noticed the trance customers had, being lured into the establishment when her son would make music. Before that, El Rey witnessed much evil come in and out of the tavern. A vagabond often stopped by during closing time with his dog, Rough McGuff. He helped himself to the leftover soup. In return, he shared his tall tales to whoever was left there in the tavern. Inspired by the vagabond, El Rey became a storyteller. The young tiefling sang his stories to the tavern. His mother soon thereafter gifted El Rey a lyre that she took as payment from a juggler passing through. El Rey's performances were sought out, entrancing or inspiring the audiences. They were hooked. By his 15th birth year, El Rey's mother was no longer a bar wench. Now the owner of the Charcoal Chair Tavern. She gave her blessings to her only child and said farewell to him. El Rey left behind the only home he had ever known to begin living his own tall tales. One of the nocturnal creatures towers over the cleric soldier. Grunting, it says,
"Going up against me!"
Gaze upon your fate,
Aegon says with a hypnotic voice. She takes out a small mirror from one of her pockets, shows it to the nocturnal creature standing before her. A terrible scream, then nothing. The nocturnal creature is gone, trapped inside the mirror. Aegon, a dragonborn cleric soldier, throws the small mirror toward another creature charging after her. With a precise throw, the mirror's sharp edges slices clean across its throat. It falls, then shatters to the ground. Deathly screams can be heard as the mirror hits the floor. Both creatures are dead. War has long been Aegon's life, part of a mercenary company with other dragonborn clerics. Aegon is the last of them. Her last battle was fought in saving a mythical creature known as Gato. An unknown being was farming them and manipulating them against their will. It was a fiery battle. She only had enough strength to heal herself.
Cease, or you will be fired upon!
Blanche, the barbarian dwarf, shouted, wielding a pistol half the size of themselves. It had the ability to turn its target into a tree, aimed at nocturnal creatures. The barbarian clan that Blanche once belonged to set aside younglings at the start of the frost season for the forge, as they call it. Blanche, who at age 6 was amongst the other younglings, during a 3-day period left among themselves to survive within the wild forest. After the rite of passage was complete, all but one youngling returned. Blanche was never found. Blanche was lost, alone in the wild forest for days. 2 weeks had passed. While roasting a Euban over her fire pit, another clan happened to stumble upon Blanche, 5 half-humans who were herbalists. They received her into their family as one of their own. They taught her the way of nature and its healing properties.
Decapitated in front of his family!
Bowie shouted in shock. He made his way without hesitation, shielding the women and child from the carnage happening all around. Fire was consuming the homes of the villagers. The plumes of smoke were making it difficult for the villagers to flee to safety. Blinding and choking them made it easy for the nocturnal invaders to lay waste. Bowie, an orc ranger, born into an order of priesthood orcs, whether pure-blood, half-breed, or raised by orcs, the order accepted anyone. Bowie lived in the temple, but never practiced, until one frosted day, looking at the cold white, coated ground and the struggling flowers, he heard a voice calling from within. From there on, Bowie found the broken and lost, bringing them to the temple for nourishment of the soul. Blanche and Elray fighting side by side. Clover, a rogue gnome, enters the forge.
On my honor, I will serve thee and help your one true love.
Clover stated faithfully, placing their hand on the blacksmith's shoulder after overhearing Tylo's tragic story. Clover spent years, 187 to be exact, learning and studying the lore of the multiverse. They have become masters in this field. Clover believes that knowledge alone is the only path to self-improvement and power. Their duty is to protect their pupils and apprentices, hoping to spread wisdom and peace to all.
Hey, I gotta go. Time flew by way too fast. I have a paid acting gig to be a zombie extra. No looting. Right, Dungeon Master? Right on. Wish me luck. Blanche out.
Addison then logged off.
Good luck! Good luck!
The guild sang out, including the Dungeon Master.
Hopefully she heard.
Corey mentioned.
Wow. This D&D stuff is intense. Now I understand the allure.
Dean mentioned. Before the gang fell into a conversation, Hiroyuki interrupted.
We will close the session and pick it up tomorrow. Let me know who can make it by 10 p.m. That way I could adjust the campaign to the ones that show up.
I just have an interview tomorrow. Gotta make sure they understand. The solitude of betas.
Jeffrey said.
Do you have a pet shop?
Dean asked.
Under the sea, and it's an aquarium. It's on the corner of...
The Spin and Goldblum. Yeah. I've rode past there while visiting the East Coast. Small world. It's a really cool signage. Really grand and extravagant.
Thanks, man. Small world indeed. It was once a Havana club.
Replied Jeffrey. Meanwhile, the others were taking notes of the campaign they just played. A bedroom door slams open. It's Emma's mother, standing disappointed with one hand on her hip and the other hand waving in the air. She's looking over at Emma's computer monitor.
This is the only life you understand.
Her mother complained in Spanish, pointing to Emma's computer monitor.
Oh my gosh, Mom!
Emma grumbles immediately. She starts logging out of Discord.
Oh my goodness, how embarrassing. Poor Emma.
Corey said over everyone's small talk within the Discord chat.
Closing up, I will give you details of Emma's character and the rest of you all to Dean, so he can add to his notes.
Hiroyuki said.
Yes, that will be great. It was fun meeting all of you. I will definitely be back tomorrow.
Dean replied.
I'm down,
said Neil with a mouthful of ranch-flavored corn nuts.
I should be available as well,
Corey said quietly. Moving closer to his mic, Jeffrey asked.
Why are you whispering?
I thought I heard something outside like a skyquake, a loud booming sound, and I tell you my seat just vibrated. It freaked out my low.
Corey added to the conversation. She lived alone with her pet. Neil logged off. Hiroyuki ended the Discord session with everyone's goodbyes left hanging in cyberspace. Dean twirled on his swivel seat to face his plants. Chapter 3. Atmosphere.
That was fun. They're cool.
Talking to his plants, which he did often. Dean grabbed his phone to play some music. His Bluetooth began playing Black Diamond by Stratovarius. Right before the guitar shred, Dean's phone startled him by an incoming text.
That was fast,
thought Dean. It was from Hiroyuki. Jeffrey is a wizard elf named Risotto. It's his favorite pasta. Emma is a rogue gnome named Clover, named after her late bunny rabbit. Corey is a ranger orc named Bowie. Her favorite singer, David Bowie. Addison is a barbarian dwarf named Blanche, after her favorite golden girl. Neil is a cleric named Aegon. He loves Tolkien. As far as their backstories, they all have really good ones. I will post all backstories onto the Discord dashboard. End of text message.
Sounds good. Thanks again for the invite to game. Really excited. Later, man.
Dean responded in a text. Looking at the time on his phone, he was surprised to see it was already 2:42 p.m.
Are you sure you don't need to use the bathroom? Once I start, I do not want to stop the process,
said Hollywood, the makeup artist standing behind Addison.
No, I'm good. I'm really excited to get started.
Addison replied, looking at the mirror in front of her.
Okay, girl, let's do this,
Hollywood said, turning on his music to begin the transformation.
Oh, who's this? I like it,
asked Addison.
The last song by Trisomy 21. I love dancing to this song,
Hollywood replied. Addison tapped her hand to the beat.
So, you're one of our young zombies, huh?
Asked Hollywood.
Well, not too young. I'm 20 years old,
responded Addison.
Okay, well, you're blessed. I thought you were 14 or 15 years old.
I get that a lot. I think it's my freckles.
Don't take offense, but are you a natural ginger?
Why would I take offense?
Addison said, followed by a soft giggle.
You have such pretty big curls. Have you considered letting it grow out?
Asked Hollywood. Addison's smile seemed to fade.
I had it long to my waist. I cut it recently. It was shorter than it is now. My mother passed away 5 months ago. She was both fierce and gentle, like all mothers should be. In mourning, we cut off our hair. She was Native American.
Addison said with a forced half-smile.
Oh, hon, I didn't mean to pry.
It's fine. I'm fine.
Addison smiled big.
Whoa, no, don't do that. Makeup needs to be set. I'm halfway done with your face.
Exclaimed Hollywood.
Sorry. Are you local or with the production company?
Addison asked.
No more talking. I gotta set these prosthetic pieces on you. And no, honey, I am not from Montana. I do want to try the huckleberry berry pie here. I heard this place is known for.
Responded Addison as still as possible. Looking up to the sky, Jeffrey notices a whole swarm migration. 3 different species of birds. Flying low overhead in a manic synchronicity, Lydia holds open the entry door to their aquarium shop. Under the Sea not only sold fish, but it also sold aquatic plants and aquatic reptiles. Jeffrey kept his eyes to the sky.
Are you seeing this? This can't be normal. I've never seen birds behave like this.
Jeffrey started swallowing his throat. Lydia smacked him on his butt and walked past him, straightening inventory of plastic accessories for fish tanks.
Don't start freaking me out. You always do this. Every time you have a D&D session. It's like it takes a while to get my husband back from the magician.
Lydia said.
Wizard! I'm a wizard, you know this. Quick! Check your earthquake app. I installed it on your phone. My phone's dying.
Jeffrey said firmly, still watching the birds.
Baby, Rhode Island does not get earthquakes. It's been a slow day today. If it makes you feel better, we can close up early and get takeout from that barbecue place you love.
Lydia said, matching his tone, still looking out the glass entry door and now noticing others with their phones, going live on their social platforms, anything for attention. In this case, it is warranted. Vehicles began slowing down to watch the spectacle as well.
Now something is definitely up. Let's close up. I want you to go straight home. Make sure our bug out bags are ready. Just in case, I'll pick up the food and meet you at home.
Jeffrey instructed. The two kissed and embraced. Lydia grabbed her purse and keys, went out the back door of their shop, singing out loud.
The end of the world and I feel fine.
Jeffrey smiled and shook his head.
Sorry, could you hold out the package? It's the company's new policy. I have to take a picture of the delivered package,
said Martin, the delivery driver. Emma smiled big, excited to unbox her package, and obliged.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. You have a blessed day.
Martin hurried away, eager to get back on his route. Emma tore open the small packages.
Oh, my glob. They look so cool. Eee!
She said while happily placing them one by one on the black marble kitchen island. Emma ran upstairs to get her phone. Light blonde hair, dark brown eyes, and as of late has embraced the cottagecore aesthetic.
Oh, what's this?
Mom, no, don't touch, please. They're my new dice made of crystal. Real crystal.
They look really nice. I thought it was for jewelry you are making.
Emma's mother said nonchalantly while Emma was waiting patiently for her to place them back onto the black marble countertop and walk away. Emma proceeded to align the dice in a way that would capture an artistic shot. Satisfied, she sent the picture to the D&D Guild.
I'm going to the Panderia for some pandules.
We can have after dinner with coffee.
Did you want to come?
Her mother called out.
Yes. Yeah, let me just put my dice away. Did you want the box for anything?
Her mother contemplated for a split second.
Nah. Go ahead and throw the box.
Her mother replied, standing at the bottom of the stairs. Emma bolted up the stairs to her room, then back down again. It was a spiral staircase where Emma often enjoyed sitting and reading her books. She preferred it over the office library that was next to the front door. Emma's mother is standing outside holding the front door open.
You should grab a swarsta.
What do you mean?
The temperature dropped. It must be a cold front,
stated Emma's mother.
It wasn't cool when I opened the door for my package,
Emma said, grabbing a sweater from the coat closet. Both now in the vehicle and driving to their destination.
Is this normal for the Carolinas?
Emma asked while searching for a good radio station.
Pues I guess since we are north.
Pondered her mother. The radio played So Alive by Love and Rockets.
Ooh, leave it, I like this song. It's already ending.
Emma's mother sang along anyways. On the two-way street they were on, the vehicle in front of them begins to slow down, coming to a complete stop. In shock and awe, the passengers, along with Emma and her mother, witnessed deer, raccoons, skunks, feral cats, squirrels, rabbits, a couple mutt dogs, and at least 3 foxes running across the usually busy road. A shrieking and rumbling sound sang within the white-tiled walls of Neil's bathroom as soon as he turned the shower on.
Come on, man.
Neil complained, trying to force more water out. A tablespoon of water trickled down. Exasperated and frustrated.
Bucket. I guess I'll just smell the ranch corn nuts. Whatever.
Accepted Neil. A quick wardrobe change, and Neil was out the door and driving. He drove a 1975 van to the local music store called Let the Music Play. Swimming through the vinyls, he found a lost gem. Neil to Ronnie, the cashier and owner.
Soup, man.
Nice! My favorite song is Sacred Love,
said Ronnie. Nodding in agreement, Neil added.
Did you know he recorded that song on a prison phone while he was doing time? That's what gives it the garage effect.
I did,
Ronnie replied, carefully placing the vinyl in the bag.
Where did you come from?
Startled, Ronnie asked a customer standing diagonally behind him, a tall peppered-hair man wearing a Jim Beam hat and stone-washed blue jean jacket.
Say, man, your water don't work. Hardly any water is coming out of the faucet.
The customer complained. Quickly finishing up the transaction, Ronnie went to check the bathroom. Neil took notice of the situation, and it made him uneasy.
That can't be a coincidence. Maybe the city is working on a busted pipe,
thought Neil.
And don't forget this.
Ivy, the other employee in the store, placed a business card into Neil's bag.
It's my friend's. Her and her husband have a handful of projects. From art on canvas, designed journals, apparel, stickers, to being content creators as well.
Ivy said, handing Neil another business card of her friend's. Neil read, thefancymongers.card.co.
Huh. Cool, I'll check them out.
Ivy, I need you to pick some hand sanitizer up from Walgreens. Oh, and hand wipes as well,
Ronnie said with a disdainful look. Before Ivy could respond, Ronnie was already on the phone with the CityWorks.
This is a bunch of crap. I pay my bill on time for the last 14 years,
Stopping mid-sentence, Ronnie looked at Ivy.
Why are you still here? Go to the store!
He scolded Ivy. Ronnie, whose real name was Ronald, was a proud Scottish fella who wore his ginger hair in a long braid. He kept his family's coat of arms hung behind his register, Kirkpatrick. Corey sat in front of her computer deciding which audiobooks of Beatrix Potter she was going to play for her class. Corey played audiobooks for her class during cleanup time. Corey's class loved and looked forward to it. Lolo began scratching and trying to climb the French door of her living room.
Lolo, calm down. Oh my gosh, I'll let you out.
Corey said as she stood up from the wooden swivel chair. Corey heard what sounded like howling and whistling, debating against one another. Then her French doors began to tremble and flutter. Lolo began taking steps back.
That is some crazy wind, huh, Lolo?
Corey said with a nervous giggle. Standing in front of her French doors, she notices the clouds look like massive popcorn, with overlaying shadows of light pink, yellow, and orange. Mesmerized, Corey opened the door to take a closer look. The clouds painted the sky, scattering light. Expecting a chill, she clenched her arms and stepped out onto her patio, immediately slapped with the wind. Surprisingly, was not chilly at all. It was between a warm and cool breeze, almost felt like there was no temperature, just the feeling of intense wind blowing. Corey could not make sense of it. Soft rumbling and scratching. Her attention was now to the ground. Corey's pink plumerias began moving, not from the wind either. She got closer. The dirt began rising, like freshly ground coffee beans. Corey screamed in terror, crying uncontrollably. Beetles, big and small, and earthworms erupted and crawled from the earth's crypt. Before she could turn and run back inside, the deceiving wind blew beetles and worms. Corey was struggling to get them off her. They were in her hair. She even heard clicking in her left ear. Her long, wavy and curly hair was pulled up on a ponytail. She wore a flowered blouse that flowed in the wind, wearing black capris and barefoot. Slapping her face uncontrollably, Corey made her way back inside her home, slamming shut the French doors. She started taking off all her clothes. The invaders made their way inside her clothes. Warm blood began running down her chin and drying up. She gave herself a bloody nose and busted lip. Corey was about to run to the bathroom when she notices Lolo. Lolo's head was bobbing up and down behind her ottoman, crunching noises and awful smells. Corey screams in horror and disgust. Lolo was devouring beetles. The wind blew in, and others fell from Corey herself.
And they tumbled about the doorstep and played in the dust.
The audiobook still playing in the background.
Alexa, what is today's forecast?
Asked Hiroyuki.
The current weather for Portland, Oregon is 63 degrees with a high of 65 degrees and a slight fog.
Responded Alexa. Hiroyuki searched through his wallet for his Costco card. It was a bifold wallet his aunt said belonged to Hiroyuki's late father. Finding it, he walked to his view side windows that were wrapped around his home, keeping a lookout for the fog Alexa mentioned. Hiroyuki sees his neighbor Vince standing at the lake's edge, using his binoculars, looking out at the water. Hiroyuki's attention immediately shifted towards the water's shore.
A cloud? That's a cloud, or I've never seen a fog like that before.
Hiroyuki said to himself out loud. Needing to take a closer look at this anomaly, he rushed outside to join his neighbor Vince.
10 minutes! It's been floating there 10 minutes!
Exclaimed Vince.
Did it roll in or descend from the sky?
Hiroyuki wondered.
Now, I don't know how long it's been here. I came out to throw the trash since Hadley couldn't hear me yelling for her to do it over her dang earbuds. I saw it and then ran in from my binoculars to see if I can catch any movement from inside the thing.
Vince answered, still keeping his attention and binoculars to the anomaly.
You don't think it's some kind of biochemical attack?
Vince asked, nervously.
I think there would have been a color or odor. Nothing can be that still. By now, we would have felt some kind of burning. Either our skin, eyes, throat, or nausea.
Answered Hiroyuki uncertainly. Hiroyuki pulled his hair back into a ponytail, as if preparing for something he did not know what yet. Hiroyuki wore a V-neck charcoal gray shirt, olive green khakis loosely rolled up above his ankles, wearing leather Sperry loafers. Money or not, Hiroyuki bought clothes depending on how the fabric felt against his skin. Both men jumped, then took slow steps back. Swarms of fish, both big and small, rushed to the shore, splashing violently against one another. Distracted by the spectacle, neither one noticed the anomaly was moving closer.
Look! It's growing!
Yelled Vince.
No, it's coming closer.
Hiroyuki said and was making his way back home as fast as his loafers would allow. Hiroyuki took a quick glance back. Vince was already running into his garage, ready to tell his wife and daughter all about it. Chapter 4, Joy Division. Riston, Virginia.
India is on the line! Their charts are everywhere!
A panicked geologist shouts across the room of 5 heads in charge of contingency plans. 4 of them are calling their loved ones.
Mrs. Miller, it's the president on line 1.
Said a secretary as he rushes to leave home. Olivia Miller, the 5th in charge, picks up the phone.
Yes, Mr. President. It seems as though magma is rushing to the surface and at an alarming speed, but not breaking through the ground. It's not expanding like an eruption. More like a precise blanketing is the only way to describe it.
3 p.m., Montana. A strong jolt is felt, and Hollywood loses his balance. Breaking his fall was an open container of Vaseline. His left hand crushes painfully into it. Hollywood screams in agony right before passing out from the pain. Addison's stunned, shock, and in tears at the sight of his deformed and bloody hand. Both their phones begin to go off with emergency alerts. Blinking, she snaps out of it and slams open the trailer door.
Hollywood! He's hurt! Please hurry, come!
Shouts Addison, forgetting, just for a split moment, where she was. Addison screamed again in terror as 11 zombie extras turned to look her way, some rising up from the ground, others staggering to find their balance. After the jolt, most of them fell down. A 50-year-old zombie extra rushed to her.
It's okay. Shh, calm down. What happened?
Asked the zombie. She held Addison tight to stop her from shaking. Nearby shouts were also heard from the production crew. Phones kept going off with emergency notifications. Another zombie stuck their head in the trailer to see what happened.
Get the medic! It's Hollywood! He's hurt!
Hollywood's rockabilly hairdo is still in place. Wearing a black and white zebra print button-up top, lavender parachute pants, and dark maroon Stacy's with maroon ribbon laces. 3 p.m., Rhode Island. Rumbling begins throughout the shop. Aquariums, fish bowls, all begin falling. Jeffrey braces himself and tries making his way to the front door of his shop. But the rumbling and shaking of the ground is too intense. He almost loses his balance and falls onto the broken glass-ridden floor.
What's happening?
Jeffrey yells into an empty store. Vehicles honking outside, sounds of screeching metals coming from colliding vehicles fill the air. The events last a total of 3 minutes. Carefully finding his balance, he reaches for his phone. Jeffrey had placed on the charge. It was on the floor, shattered. The electricity was completely knocked out as well. People outside were yelling and crying in frustration and in fear. Jeffrey makes his way out of his shop and to his car. 2 vehicles had crashed into his car. Feeling a flutter of heat to his face and knees about to buckle, a man staggers past him, bleeding from his knees and mumbling,
Sir, please may I use your phone?
Jeffrey beckoned. Surprisingly, only a few scrapes and small cuts lined Jeffrey's elbows and outer forearms. His dark blue and plaid bow tie is now crooked. Jeffrey always wore a bow tie to work with a short-sleeved buttoned-up shirt, some slacks, and white high-top Converse. 3 p.m., Portland. Dean receives an emergency alert on his phone, immediately followed by a most intense jolt quake. Dean drops his D&D figurine he was painting.
What the heck was that?
Dean said out loud to his botanical family, hearing things break with the jolt.
Ugh. No.
Frustrated, Dean rushes to his living room. He sees 8 of his pots that were propagating plants had all fallen.
This is a national emergency alert. A series of quakes are being felt around the world. Seek shelter immediately.
After reading that alert on his phone, Dean rushed to call his mother. She answers within the first ring.
Oh my goodness, did you feel that? Are you okay, hon?
Dean's mother asked him, with more concern for his well-being than hers. Finding comfort in his mother's voice, Dean took a seat onto his bar stool.
Yeah, I'm safe at home. Where are you at? Is Dad with you?
Dean quickly asked his mother.
No, I'm just leaving the doctor's office. I was in the parking lot. I almost fell, but I grabbed onto this cute convertible buggy. But I'm fine, sweetie. Hold on. Your father is calling me on the other line. Don't hang up.
Dean's mother attempts to place him on hold but hangs up instead. Dean was very close to his father, who taught him everything he knew about mechanics. Even though Dean was adopted at 3 years old, he always had unconditional love from both his parents. 3 p.m., North Carolina. The ground under Emma's and her mother's feet begins rumbling. It was shaking more violently, unlike any earthquake they have experienced. Their phones receive emergency alerts. A baker standing at the cash register yells in Spanish to his fellow baker who had been in the back baking the last batch of calabaza empanadas. Emma's mother drops a tray of pan dulce from her hands. The only other customer was an elderly lady. She passed out on the floor. Different flavors of sweetbread fall off the shelves. Emma's phone falls out of her hands. She was in the middle of posting the Animals Crossing she took pictures of earlier onto her social media. Lights flickered on and off in the strobe-like manner. Trying to keep her balance, nausea immediately sets in. Emma falls onto her knees with a crunching sound of pain. She screams. Emma cried out. Her mother crawls and makes her way to Emma.
¡Ayúdanos!
Her mother, in tears, yells out to the bakers. The bakers are nowhere to be found. The violent tremors last just 3 minutes, but seem longer. Then dark and stillness.
It's dark? Why is it so dark?
Asks the other customer in the panderia. She was an elderly lady attempting to sit up. 3 p.m., Maine. Neil is packing his corn pipe with ground chamomile and lavender while listening to the new vinyl Neil purchased earlier. Sacred Love by Bad Brains begins to play. His phone begins vibrating. He sees an emergency alert. A thunderous, swift, and heavy jolt causes his vinyl to scratch, and Neil's entire record player is thrown off its stand. He didn't even notice his chamomile and lavender-packed corn pipes scattered all over the floor. Everything happened so fast. Neil doesn't even know where his phone is now. He stands up slowly. It all has not registered with him yet.
This.
Neil winces in pain, grabbing the back of his neck. Now seeing things clearer, anxiety and panic fight over him. All is intensified due to his post-traumatic stress from the war. Neil is cold, but his whole body is sweating. His gut is feeling the worst pain ever. Neil scores the floor for his phone or remote control, then notices his TV is shattered on the floor.
I didn't hear that. How did I not hear that?
He thought to himself while lost and confused, pulling the collar of his Pulp Fiction graphic t-shirt nervously. Neil's dark plaid shorts and black Pumas caught shavings of his lavender and chamomile. 3 p.m., Texas. After clearing her home of beetles, Corey sits in a warm bath of Epsom salt to calm her nerves. Again she hears Lolo, then a rumbling, intense shake of quakes begin. Frantic and scared, Corey attempts to crawl out of the tub, but her right elbow slides and Corey is back in the tub being tossed about. Her phone is going off at a distance in her bedroom. All Corey could do was wait till it was all over. Exactly 3 minutes later, it stops. She can't see. The power grid was affected as well. Corey slowly drains the tub, then slowly feeling in darkness her way out. No time to get a towel, Corey makes her way to the bedroom. She grabs a bedsheet with one hand and a phone with the other.
This is an emergency alert.
Before she can finish reading it, the phone rings. It's her father.
Corey, you're all right? That was some quake!
Exclaimed her father with excitement in his voice.
Yes,
Corey stops. Tears start forming and begins crying.
Baby, what's wrong? What happened?
With a concerned tone, her father asks.
This day has just been crap.
Frustrated, she shouts, then whimpers.
Your mother and I are on our way,
said her father.
What's wrong? What happened?
Her mother's voice in the background. Corey's mother is an Air Force veteran who only looked stern and assertive, but was actually a kind and sensitive soul. 3 p.m., Portland. Standing in front of his 4-by-7-foot glass window, overlooking the lake, Hiroyuki lifts his binoculars. He has hoped to get a better view of the alien fog, seeing if maybe he can catch something moving within it. A notification alert comes through on his phone. Hiroyuki ignores it, thinking it's some amber or silver alert. keeping fixated on the fog. A massive shift of a jolt sends him thrusting against the window. The rim-coated lenses of the binoculars bruise deep into the outer parts of Hiroyuki's eyes. He lets out a painful yell. The pain is sent throughout branches of nerves all over his head, chiming all at once. Hiroyuki drops the binoculars and staggers to the dining room table, the only furniture that is at arm's reach. He sits and immediately pulls out his phone from his pocket. Emergency alert still going off. Hiroyuki's eyes have begun to swell. He could barely make out what it says. Grunting in frustration, he rises slowly and moves to the fridge, grabs an 8-ounce bag of frozen mixed vegetables, placing it on his eyes, then carefully moving it around his entire head. Hiroyuki makes his way to the couch, turning on his 43-inch television mounted on the wall.
We are getting reports in from all around the world broadcasting that Air Force One is up in the air. Other world leaders are following suit. The president will speak now.
My fellow Americans, all of who are able to watch and listen from all parts of the world, as of yet, we have no confirmation as to what is causing all the chaos and how many more is on its way. What we do know is this is taking place all over the world. A lot of power grids have been affected along with nuclear reactors. We are taking preventative measures in handling the nuclear reactors. First and foremost, U.S. geologist Olivia Miller will explain.
Web call on speaker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What we are seeing and experiencing is something in a cataclysmic level event first ever recorded in human history. The information we are receiving showed a vast amount of magma rising to the Earth's surface at an alarming rate. Then it suddenly stopped and expanded. Blanketing itself was just enough to cause the quakes we all felt. Large cracks are being reported along the ground worldwide, some at a depth of 1 mile. What is astonishing still is that it is only on land, not within the ocean floor, and it is a single crack. Each continent is reporting all along their countries, including our own,
stated the U.S. geologist.
Thank you for your outstanding work. And now, Major General Wright,
replied the president.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a representative of the United States military, our duty is to the good people of the United States of America. That being said, we have activated all National Guardsmen and Red Cross, as well as opening all FEMA camps. That will be available to anyone in need. We will be broadcasting the locations for the next 24 hours. Move in a calm and cordial manner. Travel lightly, and do not forget important medications and prescriptions. Take extra caution on the roads due to downed power lines,
stated Major General Wright.
Thank you, Major. A president once said how quickly the world would put their differences aside if we were facing an outside threat to Earth. I'm here to tell you that time has arrived. Except the threat is not from outside, but from within our planet Earth. United, we shall stand and get through this.
The president ended his speech. The threat is finer than dust particles and spores, rust-colored and odorless, once attaching themselves to the internal part of the human body, like a parasite using its victims as some organic marionette. Chapter 5. I Won't Forget You.
Hollywood is going to be okay. They are wrapping his hand now. They will be taking him to the nearest hospital or clinic, whichever is closest.
The 50-year-old zombie reassured Addison. 5 feet away from them, a crew member is watching the presidential speech on his phone. Others are already on their phones and began to stream the presidential speech as well. The middle-aged zombie took out her phone and was watching attentively with Addison. Just short from her peripheral vision, Addison's attention was now towards the crowd that was gathering 16 yards away.
I think someone else is hurt,
Addison said. Her eyes were searching through the standing legs to get a glimpse of a victim or...
Whoa, the ground. Look, it's opened. It opened up,
said Addison, stunned and alarmed.
My wife, she's tall and blonde wearing a red dress. She's a veterinarian. She was standing next to me. She's gone. She was standing next to me, said the bystander, stumbling past the man's murmuring came through loud and clear to Jeffrey. Feeling disheartened, Jeffrey looked toward the direction as to where the man was coming from. More people were staggering fast from the direction, moving all over the place to get their distance from it. Jeffrey ignored his déjà vu. There was dust in the air from the ground and smoke from the vehicles that crashed against one another. Like the call of the void, he couldn't help himself from knowing.
What are they all running from?
He asked no one in particular, and as well anyone listening. Jeffrey got closer and was now able to make out 3 men standing in shock and awe. The third man was shouting frantically to his family.
It's gonna be okay! Get away from the edge! I'll find a way across!
He assured them. Jeffrey stood there in shock. Right before him was a huge crack in the ground that stretched with what sounds like mourns and cries pouring forth from the new abyss.
Wait, hold on, Mom. You first have to...
Dean's call with his mom dropped. Dean let out a loud sigh.
She still hasn't figured out how that phone feature works.
Saying out loud to himself, Dean goes to clean up the mess in his apartment garage. 5 minutes pass and he gets an incoming call, expecting it to be a call back from his mom.
Dad, you all right? Where are you?
I'm fine, son. You'll knock me off my feet.
I was pulling a wagon with pumpkins in it.
When it happened.
Hello, Dad, can you hear me?
Dean asked. He tried calling his dad back, but got no signal. Cell phone towers were now feeling the effects from the event. Debating whether to head over to his parents' farm that was an hour away, Dean hears a pounding on his front door.
Dean, it's Janet!
His landlady called out. Dean opens the door. The 55-year-old woman throws herself onto Dean while wearing a leopard print fitting blouse. She's barefoot with black leggings and smelling like menthol cigarettes.
I can't find my Sadie baby! She doesn't handle stress well at all! Dean! Help me, please! Sadie!
Janet yells out hysterically with a southern accent, even though she was born and bred in Vegas.
Okay, calm down. Let me switch to some tennis, and I will go help you look.
Dean said slowly and calmly. She lights a slim menthol cigarette, taking nervous puffs. Janet turned to look toward the street.
Oh, Sadie, baby! No! Mama's coming, darling!
Landlady screamed and raced down the outer staircase of the garage apartment, off towards the giant sinkhole of the crack. It ran all along their street. Dean rushed in pursuit, thinking that Sadie baby may have fallen in. Janet wailed for Sadie, and Dean was astonished at the sight. Kneeling at the edge and putting his ears as close as possible, he heard it. At first barking, whimpering, then a terrifying low growl, and finally silence. Sadie wasn't barking anymore.
Rodolfo!
Emma's mother cried out while helping both Emma and the elderly woman. She heard no answer, not wanting to leave Emma's side. Instead, the elderly woman got up off the chair she was sitting on, still in shock, adjusting her black sun hat. The light pink flower that was pinned onto it had fallen off somewhere, onto the floor during the event. Her clip-on earrings were lost as well. Her faux mink that rested around her neck was now on the dismantled floor, looking like roadkill. Still clutching her tattered leather purse that was the size of a small suitcase, the elderly lady made her way behind the counter.
Mom, no. You should be sitting down.
Emma's mother pleaded with the elderly lady. The elderly lady looked over her shoulder, about to respond. She lets out a scream. The scream seems to fade.
What happened?
Emma continues to cry in fear and confusion. Her mother approaches the counter slowly, looking over, and to her horror, saw the earth had opened up, claiming all three of them, Rodolfo, his assistant baker, and the elderly woman. The cracked abyss stretched all the way to the kitchen of the bakery.
We have to go, Emma,
exclaimed her mother in fright.
What? But I can't stand! What's wrong? What happened?
Before Emma could finish her sentence, her mother put her arms under Emma's shoulders and began to drag her out of the bakery. Through Emma's tears and wails, they made it successfully out. The cracks seemed to stretch all along the outside as well. The temperature had dropped a bit more. The crack in the ground looked like something out of a sci-fi horror. A passerby stopped to help the women into their car. His name was Barry and was only in town for a gig. He was a stand-up comedian on his way to perform for inmates at the prison located an hour away. Nervous, anxious, and frigid with his glasses, he began telling them all about the president's speech.
Mom! Ma! What's that?
Emma pointed to the crack. It was now 13 yards in front of them. Scared, Barry jumped in his black car and sped off.
Hold on, mija,
said Emma's mom as she drove as fast as she could, all the way home. Lolo was hiding under the bed.
Come on, Lolo. It's okay. You're okay.
Corey reached under her bed to retrieve Lolo. Corey's phone had no service. Getting up off the floor, Corey was trying to connect to any Wi-Fi nearby. Looking out her window, she sees the neighbors getting into their vehicles, in haste with only duffel bags.
Oh my gosh, what's happening, Lolo?
Corey rushed outside, yelling to one of her neighbors.
What's going on? What's happening?
Large crack has opened up! It runs through the city! Lots of casualties!
Phones are down!
Water is off!
And it's only a matter of time before the power grid is affected.
How have you not been paying attention?
The neighbor shouted to Corey as he loaded up his orange Bronco, then sped off with the rest of the neighbors trailing behind. Feeling lightheaded and short of breath, she clenched her chest and stepped back into her home.
What do I do? Mom and Dad are on their way. can't leave without them. What if something happened to them?
Thoughts raced through Corey's mind. Then the murmuring sound of voices creeped outside her front door.
Looters? Are they looters? Already?
Gasped Corey. In a moment of flight or fight, Corey grabs the closest thing to her. 2 clay molds that her student Ophelia made her.
I didn't lock the door.
Corey warned herself. Just then the front door swings open. She screams, what sounds like a warrior cry, and hurls her clay weapons of choice that were supposed to be salt and pepper shakers. 3 inches in height, one was a snail, the other a frog. At least that is what Ophelia told her they were. Corey adored them nonetheless and used them as decor on her kitchen windowsill. He was able to dodge one, but the other got him on the shoulder.
Ouch!
Shouts her father.
Honey, it's us. Calm down.
Said her mother, showing her hands.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I was so worried. I don't know what to do. If you all were okay. How did you get here so fast?
Asked Corey, catching her breath, hugging both of her parents.
We came to town for the orange cranberry muffins. After the quake and talking to you, we pulled over to hear the president's speech.
Answered her father.
Then came straight over.
Added her mother.
Speech? That must have been while I was getting dressed and trying to get low.
Shuddered Corey, looking over to her French doors. Overheated, Neil rushes outside for some fresh air. Standing on his porch, he hears a scream. Still trying to make sense of what just happened. He doesn't know if that scream came from inside his head. He turned to his left, where his driveway used to be. It was now a huge gaping sinkhole of a crack that ran across the street into Gary's home. Neil, with haste, sprang into action and rushed to aid Gary and his wife. Just as he reaches the street, Gary's house collapses into itself. The hole swallowed it whole.
No scream. No screams. No one was home. It's okay. He's okay. They're probably at a dog park with...
Neil tried convincing himself. Hiroyuki reaches for his phone to call his aunt.
No phone service.
Immediately, he makes his way to his panic room, where his satellite phone is. Inside his panic room, he has enough resources for 3 months. Using his satellite phone to call his aunt, all he gets is a busy signal. Hiroyuki turns on the small satellite television in his panic room.
We are getting reports in. Just past Bar Road, a giant crack has opened up in the earth that stretches for miles.
Reported the anchor lady.
Bar Road. That's 3 miles from here.
Stated Hiroyuki to himself. Hiroyuki's 2,000 square foot house was located on one side of the dead-end paved road. His 2013 Ranger tugboat was tied and kept on the lake that was some yards from Hiroyuki's house. Chapter 6. Massive Attack. The United Kingdom, a nation made up of the historic countries England, Wales, Scotland, as well Northern Ireland.
Cease, or you will be fired upon!
A Buckingham guardsman broke in, stating to the paranoid mob approaching the palace.
Please return to your homes immediately!
Shouted the red-faced guardsman.
My elderly mother doth drop to the ground. Doth back up! As something else!
Yelled a citizen from within the mob.
Happened to me wife and child as well!
Another man in the crowd, all 15 men amongst the crowd, roared of the same events happening to their loved ones. A couple of guardsmen looked cautiously to one another. Mexico, An elderly man is out picking up Coke bottles that spilled out of a vintage cola machine. He notices a rust-colored mist rising from behind the small hill near his village in San Luis de la Paz.
Alma, ven! Mira! ¿Qué crees que es?
The man called out to his wife. Seeing that he was the only one within the strange anomaly's view, he stepped back into his home. His wife, Alma, however, was out back trying to wrangle their chickens. There were 10 chickens altogether. All 10 had been acting very erratic as of late. The children had scattered due to the seismic event, bouncing, clucking, and running. Unaware of the fast approaching mist, nor hearing her husband's call, within moments the rust mist crept up behind her and passed right through her. Oscar, the elderly man, caught sight of the whole thing.
Alma! Alma!
Shouted Oscar as he hurried toward his elderly wife of 42 years. Alma's body seemed to stiffen. Then she fell back into her husband's arms. Broadcasting worldwide in all languages, orange-brown spores rising from the cracks of the seismic event. The spores are infecting many who encounter these mysterious anomalies, mainly affecting the elderly, children, and women. Please be advised to seek shelter immediately. Stay inside. Close and lock all windows and doors. These spores are not only airborne, but can move swiftly in any direction. Use duct tape and plastic sheeting. The mist seems to defy the laws of physics as we know it. Seal any doors, windows, or vents until further notice. We will continue broadcasting on AM and FM radio stations with updates. Hiroyuki grabs his handheld radio from the top shelf of his panic room.
Wicket! Come here, boy!
Yelled Hadley, Hiroyuki's 14-year-old neighbor from across the street. Vince was loading up his Winnebago with his wife and daughter when their Siamese cat jumped out of Hadley's arms and climbed atop Hiroyuki's tree in his front yard.
Hadley! Leave him! We have to go!
Hadley! Leave him! We have to go!
Both her parents shouted at her. Safely in his panic room, Hiroyuki observed the family on his security monitor.
What are you doing, Vince? Get back inside with your family.
Hiroyuki said under his breath. Vince's wife, Madison, ran across the street to retrieve Hadley. Meanwhile, Vince backed out of the driveway with the Winnebago.
It's coming!
Shouted Hiroyuki, running out to warn his neighbors of what he saw fast approaching, Madison and Hadley. No longer thinking of his own safety, Hiroyuki, sweaty, nervous, and clammy, rushes to his front door. His African black wood door had 4 equally shaped rectangular windows, cascading down with a slight cloud tint to the glass. It was too late. By the time he unlocked the panic room and made his way outside the front of his house, Vince was screaming frantically with tears down his face. Both Madison and Hadley lay still on the ground.
Help me! Madison! Come on, baby! Wake up!
Vince shouted as he held both tight in his arms.
I don't think you should move them like that,
Hiroyuki said solemnly while covering his mouth and nose with the top of his shirt. No sooner than he said that, Madison and Hadley were both standing up.
Hadley! Madison! Oh, thank goodness!
Vince shouted with joy. Hiroyuki saw the bulging veins in their arms, legs, neck, and face.
Vince, something's not right,
Hiroyuki said cautiously as he stepped back. Madison let out a gut-wrenching scream.
It hurts! Daddy!
Cried out Hadley. Both wife and daughter walked in unison. Bewildered and shocked, Vince stuttered, trying to find his words.
What's happening to them?
He said, following his family. Vince met Madison in his senior year as a new student. His enigmatic introvert personality clashed harmoniously with the quirky social butterfly that she was. Happily married for 19 years with only one child, Hadley, she looked like neither of them. Instead was a splitting image of a great-grandmother, ironically, was named Hadley as well. Both Madison and Hadley spoke at once.
We are a collective. We have come to right the wrong. Mankind has done to the gift they were given. Earth shall flourish once more.
Madison opened the driver's seat to the Winnebago and turned off the engine, breaking the keys into the ignition, grabbing his head and crying in confusion.
Madison, what are you doing? What are you saying?
Vince shaking his head. Hadley picked up 2 pine cones off the ground, wincing loudly in pain, got onto her knees and began digging frantically on the ground, closer to the lake, trying her best to catch her breath and call out for help. Hadley's hair now in tangles. Tears and watery snot ran down her face, her hands bloody and stinging from the pine cones. Hiroyuki tried grabbing Hadley's arms. Meanwhile, Vince was holding his wife tight close to him.
Help me get them inside!
Vince shouted to Hiroyuki. He was now thinking more clearly. The girl's dead weight was a struggle. A red Volkswagen speeds up to Vince's house. Vince already inside his home. A manic man jumps out of the Volkswagen, pointing a gun at Hiroyuki.
What are you doing to my niece? This is you all, isn't it? This is some kind of bioterrorism attack.
Rambled the crazed man as he pulled the trigger. The man, dressed in some outdated BDUs and worn-out steel boots, his sunken dark circle eyes searched for confirmation of his conspiracy ideology.
Glenn, no!
Screamed Hadley.
Glenn, stop!
Shouted Vince in between the gunshot and Hiroyuki, just in time to catch the bullet to the neck. Vince lay bleeding on the floor in front of Hiroyuki and Hadley. Vince's brother Glenn fell to his knees and held his brother's hand, crying.
You didn't show up. I got one. That poison is infecting people.
Glenn said through his tears.
Madison and Hadley, both of them, take care of...
said Vince with his last breath. Hadley, screaming for her mom and dad, still in Hiroyuki's arms. None of them noticed the power in Vince's home had been shut off by Madison. Marching her way outside where Vince, her high school sweetheart, lay lifeless, Glenn, now in shock and standing, mumbles.
Both are infected, aren't they?
Mumbles Glenn as he lifts his gun. Shoots Madison as soon as she stepped out of the front door. Aiming the gun to Hadley, fires a shot to her head. Hiroyuki was shocked and covered with blood and pieces of skull and brain. Drops his 14-year-old neighbor and staggers home. Hiroyuki is now in his panic room. He can't remember how he got there. It's all hazy and a blur. Hiroyuki looks at his security monitor. He sees the red Volkswagen slowly drive away. Hiroyuki screams at the top of his lungs, banging on the walls of his panic room.
Dad, I gotta get home,
said Addison frantically. Her father was at home watching Murder, She Wrote, when the show was interrupted by an emergency alert. He got worried Addison wasn't answering her cell phone. He always spoke of a contingency plan just in case Yellowstone erupted. If either one was not home, they were to stay put and go down to the basement and wait for the other to get there, no matter what. Deciding that rummaging through the messy makeup trailer for her phone would be time-consuming, time she did not have to waste, Addison jumped onto her dirt bike and rode off home. Addison's father is retired now, spending most of his days doodling comic strips in hopes of making the local newspaper. He's had a weak heart following his wife's death. Seeing the disoriented crowds and traffic blocking the streets, Addison took the frontage roads. Now, instead of a 5-mile ride, it's 8 miles to her destination. Back at the movie set, a crew member named Cody called on all the zombies.
Okay, listen up.
Look!
Shouted an undead while pointing to the giant gaping crack in the ground. Shouts, screams, and yells rang all around, and the rust-colored mist began to rise. The undead zombies scattering like roaches. Among them were 4 missing a limb or 2, so being a zombie extra was a perfect gig, at least until the panic and running began. 1 got trampled by other zombies. The other 3 hid behind the nearest tree together. Addison's ride home seemed to take forever. Hoping her father wasn't hurt or overly startled, Addison's mind raced with macabre possibilities.
Dad!
Addison yelled as she swung open the front door of her home.
Addie!
Her father called out to her from the basement. Halfway up the basement, he's met by his daughter. She is standing breathless at the top of the stairs.
I was calling and texting. You never answered. I was so worried. My gosh, you look terrifying,
said Addison's father as he kissed her forehead. Addison caught him up on her whole ordeal on set.
Addie, so sorry you went through all that. So there was no rust-colored mist coming out of the crack?
Asked her dad to help her pick at her zombie makeup.
No, not that I saw. Everything was happening so fast. But I'm sure I would have noticed a rust-colored mist. I'll be right back. I have to use the bathroom. Then see if I can wash this makeup off. This stuff is high quality,
responded Addison. Meanwhile, her father began cranking his emergency radio that was kept in the basement. On the shelf, he kept his jars of screws. Addie was relieved and grateful for the small bathroom her father built for her mother, since a corner of the basement was converted into her crafting space. A standing shelf held her mother's homemade garlic, rosemary, and thyme pickles. Addison came back from the bathroom with little luck in taking the zombie makeup off her face. Her father looked very dire and serious.
From what was last broadcast, that mist sounds like an alien invasion from within the earth. Only, it's been here all along, like that movie,
he said slowly, turning to Addie.
Dad!
Addie said in disbelief and fear.
Don't look at me like that. No, really, don't. That zombie makeup is very realistic,
her father said with a light-hearted chuckle. Nervously biting the corner of her lip, Addison realized she may have left the front door open.
I gotta go shut the front door.
Pushing past her father.
Addie, no!
He shouts, then grabs his chest.
Dad!
Addie helped him onto the chair next to her mother's crafting table.
My chest feels heavy.
Her father struggled with each breath.
Where are your meds?
Cayenne pepper!
I can grab some really quick from the kitchen.
Dad! Don't close your eyes!
Shouts Addison. His eyes close with shallow breathing. Following the death of his wife, grief and mourning took a major toll on his body. More silver hair appeared, more wrinkles around his eyes, now with stomach ulcers and very close to dying of a broken heart. He is now on medication for his heart. Tears falling over her zombie makeup. Tears that were caught and misdirected by the fake rotting flesh glued to her face.
This can't be happening. Why? Why?
Addison was on the brink of hyperventilating. The radio receives another broadcast of the event.
That's right, paraplegic, even elderly.
Who were sick or bedridden are rising and walking.
Rates are coming in. Whether the mist is here to harm or help us.
The voice on the radio fades away from her attention. Thoughts again begin to race through Addison's head.
I could go look for his medication, but then risk getting infected with the door open. Or not open. I don't even know if I did get infected, then what? What would happen to me? Then Dad being left alone down here. I can't do that to him. Or I can open the doors and windows and let the spores or mist or whatever the thing is, I can let it in and hope it heals him.
Thought Addison. Feeling lightheaded, she grabs for a jar of pickles. Ate one as fast as she could.
Sorry, Dad. Here you are, passed out. And I'm sitting here with zombie makeup eating pickles while deciding a fate.
She said, crying through each crunch. Addison sat on a chair painted charcoal black, except for one leg. It was the last project her mother worked on. Pulling herself together, Addison stands up and makes her way to the door, turning the knob, the sounds of racing traffic and sirens at a distance. Hoping she made the right decision, she goes to rest her head against her father's leg as she sits on the floor by his feet. The sound of sand mixed with glitter hits against the small windows of their basement. Addison looks up in fright. She walks over to the window, starting to speak.
Please, help me.
Addison is cut off before she can finish her sentence. Coughing, gagging, and on the brink of choking, Addison and her father are sitting in her car. It used to be the family car. She learned how to drive in it. He taught her when she was only 15 years of age. The garage was shut. The car was running fumes.
Addie, is that you, honey?
Asked her dad with tears in his eyes. He gently patted the back of her head.
I can't move! What's happening? My hands burn!
Addie screamed in confusion while strapped onto her seat with 6 hook-ended cords. Her clothes are soaked. Her light brown corduroy overall shorts with a dark blue and red striped muscle shirt underneath. Only one of her low tops, white Converse, still on her right foot, stained with different man-made chemicals. Chemicals from inside her house and within the garage. The kitchen looked as though a tornado plowed through it. Home cleaning supplies that once occupied space under the kitchen sink now decorated the floor and walls. Addison's hands burning as though drenched in acid. Her father tried calming her. Fighting back his tears, he explained it all to her.
This is a mass extinction.
He began saying.
As soon as I came to, the smell of ammonia and other chemicals were everywhere. I called out for you. Then I made my way to the garage and saw you. You were going after the tonic acid I use for wood finishing.
Crying, he tries to finish. Her father leaned over to hug his little girl.
It wasn't you. They started speaking through you and told me everything. I didn't know what else to do. I hit you on the back of your head with one of your swimming flippers. The ones you bought at the garage sale when you were 8. Of course, they didn't fit you.
Crying, he rolls his window slowly.
It's okay, Dad.
Panting and clearing her throat. Addie, in shock and numb to any pain, she closes her eyes, now swelling shut from the reaction of tears, fumes, and splats of chemicals that hung onto her lashes.
Can you turn on the radio?
Requested Addison, while her body still being used as a marionette, struggling to free itself.
I love you.
Both Addison and her dad say at the same time. Space Song by Beach House plays on the radio.
My wife. My wife.
Lydia!
Shouts Jeffrey as he snapped out of his trance. Recollecting the timestamp of the incident, his gaze met the abyss once again.
Lydia!
He yells louder into the abyss more than once. A 7-man crew were already working together to lower down and begin rescue efforts.
What? Are you crazy?
A rescue crewman shouts at Jeffrey, who was beginning to climb into the abyss on his own.
I'm coming, Lydia. Wait, what if she isn't down here?
Jeffrey thought to himself. Screams and cries continued. He could see 4 vehicles down there. His heart sank when he recognized his wife's car. Only she drove an eggshell convertible buggy that her great-uncle gave her.
Lydia!
Her name moved him through his tears. A plume of rust-colored spores shot up all at once from the depths of the abyss. The plume was odorless and shot up at least 30 feet into the air. Jeffrey tried holding on, but couldn't. He plummeted 23 feet, then landed on, ironically, an EMT vehicle. Still alive but winded, he felt strong hands grab him off the EMT vehicle.
Careful! I think I may have cracked some ribs.
Winced Jeffrey, looking up at the strong hands that incidentally belonged to a mechanic. He explains to Jeffrey how he was driving the EMT vehicle around the block when the incident occurred.
I just remembered a rush of heat. Felt like someone opened an oven to my face. Then, crash,
said the mechanic. He heard humming.
I know that hum.
Lydia!
Jeffrey searched frantically.
Hold on. I'm coming, ma'am. I'm right here. I had to help someone. Rescue workers are on the way.
The mechanic reassured the woman who was humming. Lydia was pinned underneath the tire, sat against the earth with one leg up to her thigh that was pinned and crushed under her convertible buggy. In shock, she massaged her hands into the ground, humming her favorite lullaby from her favorite movie, Pan's Labyrinth. Lydia felt relatable to the little girl's family dynamics with her own growing up. She always hummed that lullaby while watering her plants. Lydia's house plants were over 5 years old, as long as she had been married. Lydia only watered them on Sundays. Whenever she pruned them, Lydia always made sure she was playing classical music for them. She spoke to her plants as well. Each she gave whimsical names to. Her blood now waters the ground.
Lydia! I'm here! We are getting out! Help is coming!
Looking at her leg, Jeffrey is blinded with confidence, reassuring his wife. The mechanic pulled Jeffrey's arm close to him.
Look, man, I'm no doctor, but she has already lost a lot of blood. If we move the car...
The mechanic started saying. Then he thought of something.
Okay, listen. If we pump her with morphine, it will slow her heart rate. And blood pressure, and maybe...
Said the mechanic, trying to find a solution. Above them, atop on the surface, shouts, yells, and screams. Everyone in the abyss looks up in horror.
Help! I can't stop myself! Boys! Don't!
Shouts a mother frantically. Her 2 boys, ages 8 and 7, crying and scared in their soiled pants. The 3 were among the wreckage. There were no other survivors. The family of 3 searching for a downed live electrical wire that cascaded down soon after the plume shot up. The mechanic rushes over to them to hold them back. Jeffrey turns to Lydia to assure her everything will be okay. Lydia looking at Jeffrey, still humming. There was a sense of pain and sorrow, as well as the peace and understanding behind her eyes. Lydia lifts her hands from the ground, holding something. She didn't wear much jewelry, only on special occasions. The only jewelry that was constant was her white gold wedding ring and her chocolate diamond engagement ring. She held in her hand the live wire. Lydia's eyes popped. Her jaw shuts and locks. The tip of her tongue falls out from her bloody mouth. She hums no more.
Janet, we need to stand back a bit, just in case the ground gives way under us.
Cautioned Dean.
But my Sadie baby is down there. You heard her too.
Tears rolled down his landlady's eyes.
She's all I have.
Janet pleaded to Dean with a soft and painful voice. Just then, Dean thought of his own mother. Janet and her are practically the same age.
Okay. I saw this in a movie once. I'm going to need doggy treats, a basket or bucket, and a long rope at least 15 feet from the looks of it.
Said Dean.
Okay. Yes, I have all that.
Janet said as she rushed away. Dean grabbed his phone from his back pocket. No service. He then yelled to the other neighbors who were slowly gathering and gawking at the sight. One by one, they began either checking their phones or raising them above their head for bars or any Wi-Fi signals. Nothing. Dean's neighbors from across the street were 2 men. Both spoke mainly Spanish and enjoyed eating ice cream sandwiches on their porch from time to time. Dean was bilingual and understood what the 2 were arguing about. The skinny one said it was a coronal mass ejection from the sun. The chubby one accused his roommate of not paying their phone bills on time. Dean chuckled to himself and shook his head, trying to listen close again for Sadie baby.
Here, I got it.
Shouted his landlady as she panted closer to him. Janet was a widow, losing her husband to the war, never remarried, has only one child named Ethel, who is a splitting image of her. Ethel goes through engagements like used cars. She visits Janet once a year during her heartache periods of broken engagements. Ethel lives in Old Vegas, Nevada, and is a real estate agent.
My goodness, I gotta stop smoking,
said Janet, handing Dean the 3 items he requested. The crowd had dispersed, except for 3 people who were recording it all with their phones. Lowering the rope, basket, and doggy treats, Dean was more cautious to whatever the mysterious growl was prior.
It's at the bottom. I need you to calmly call out to Sadie. Call her to her treat.
Dean advised Janet. It worked, and Dean was now pulling the basket up. Sadie's whimpering now fast approaching, just 2 more feet.
My baby, my baby.
Janet, unbalanced, squatted down and reached for her Sadie baby. Sadie, hearing Janet and her jingling bracelets, jumped and was happily reunited with her. A huge plume of rust-colored mist of spores rise violently from the crack, knocking everyone off their feet.
Dad! Sadie!
Her last words as she flung her Sadie baby over to Dean just before losing balance and falling backwards into the crack.
Why is everyone going the other way? Should we be following them?
Winced Emma as she massaged her knees gently. Traffic flooded through the roads. Some vehicles piled high with suitcases. Some vehicles had close to 10 passengers inside, while others had just their pets and a few quickly grabbed belongings. Her mother still focused on the road.
No, we go home and wait
till everything has calmed down.
The roads are dangerous right now,
Emma's mother said. Now pulling into their driveway, Emma flings open the car door. Her mother helps her out of the car, leaning most of her weight on her mother.
Dad's not home,
cries Emma. Her father owned a furniture store 20 minutes away.
Shh. Yeah, I know. It's okay.
He's okay. He's okay. He's okay,
said Emma's mother while fumbling for the keys to their front door. Still in pain, Emma looks at the stained glass on the front door. In the reflection, she sees it coming.
Ma!
Emma yells. Both are slammed against the front door. The mist is merciless.
Emma! Help!
Her mother cries out. For a split second, Emma's mother thought she must be dreaming all this. In this nightmare, she has lost all control of her body. Her joints are in pain from fighting against the nightmare, controlling her. She sees her baby girl. Emma's mother's eyes blink rapidly in hopes of waking from this nightmare. She calls out to Emma for the last time. The puppet masters turn the engine on, wielding Emma's mother to turn the steering wheel to face their home. Emma stands slumped, going in and out of comatose from her pain, gripping tight an empty gas tank in her right hand. Emma can faintly hear her mother's shouts to move. Emma cannot compel herself to move. She stands there with swollen, throbbing knees. The family car she was riding in earlier, on her way to get sweetbread, barrels through her. Both mother and daughter self-combust on impact. Like a domino effect, the fire spreads, jumping from house to house, destroying the newly built subdivision. A block away from Neil's home was a community center, where he attended his weekly meetings with other veterans suffering from PTSD. Unsure of what to do next, Neil made his way on foot to the place where he felt safe. Screams can be heard coming all around him, explosions at a distance. Neil covered his ears. 3 miles away, loud pops and explosions from water heaters and propane tanks. At one point, he thought the loud boom he heard was from an electrical transformer. Neil hummed louder, doing his best to throw out the chaos. A fellow veteran who was an attendee at his weekly meetings shared that humming the last song he heard helps pause time for him, and he can get through panic attacks that way. Upon reaching his destination, Neil sees Girl Scout cookies and different flavored packaged popcorn sprawled all over the floor. A hanging banner that reads, "Welcome to the Scouts Annual Jamboree." Neil's humming stopped, and he could hear children screaming. Flight or fight. Neil rushes into action through the window of the community center. He spots 20 children and 9 adults near the shoreline.
Tara!
Yelled a woman to her daughter as she too was dragged into the ocean.
Xavier!
A father called out to his son, dragging another scout from the ocean as well as his own son, Javier. Half the adults are trying to get to their children, fighting against not only the waves, but also what has taken control of some of them. The unwilling marionettes bobbed viciously up and down into the waters, collecting trash, plastic, and even sea glass. Neil was built like a Viking, standing at 6 feet 5 inches, strong even with the pot belly. He was able to corral 6 small children. Their ages ranged from 6 to 9 years of age, crying, frightened, and in shock, all experiencing different emotions, carrying 2 in each arm and dragging 1 by their shirt on each of his hands. 4 men met him halfway, retrieving the children. Exhausted and lightheaded, Neil fell onto his hands, with waves crashing over him. Commotion all around him. Men were tying up the women and children, trying to figure out what to do and what is happening to them. Before Neil could catch his breath and register what was happening himself, a man was yelling toward the ocean behind Neil. Finding his legs, Neil rushed back into the ocean.
They're floating face down. Please be okay.
Panicked Neil. His muscles now feel like jello, and his chest tightening.
I'm here. You're gonna be okay, kid.
Neil shouted. Neil grabs the face-down floating styrofoam trash wrapped in tarp. Neil laughs a sigh of relief. He is then pulled down into an undercurrent. His chest is no longer tight. Tossed about, he takes one last deep breath. It's not as bad as he thought it would be.
The salt water should be burning my eyes. It's not.
Thought Neil, shutting his eyes, setting adrift in a memory bliss for good.
Keep checking your phones. I'm sure William is trying to contact us.
Corey's father said. The 3 sat anxious and alert within a traffic jam near the city zoo.
I'm trying, Dad. Me and Mom aren't getting any cellular signal,
responded Corey. Her mother checks the local radio stations as she fumbles with the dial of the car radio.
Listen, I got something,
said Corey's mother. She raised the volume on the car radio.
Flamingos are being reported.
From Channel 4 news station, all along.
Highway 75, cell drops reported.
As well. Some landlines still in working conditions.
Bewildered and scared, the 3 look at one another.
Darren,
called Isabel, and she grabbed her husband's arm. The 3 looked as the mass darkened the sky in front of them, quickly approaching their car. Some passengers abandoned their belongings and vehicles, fled on foot the opposite direction.
Close the air vents!
Corey yelled. Darren quickly removed his sweater that both his children said reminded them of Mr. Rogers, placing it against the vents. Isabel, his loving wife of 22 years, panicked. She could only think of using her hands to cover the passenger side vents in front of her. The mist passed over them, through all the vehicles within the traffic jam. Each micro-sentient particle that was of a hive mind moved in synchronicity through every crack and opening of the vehicles.
It's okay. It's gone. What was that? Where are you going?
Shouted Darren. Darren gave a look of confusion as to why his wife and daughter were stepping out of the car and walking towards the zoo. Another woman from a couple cars ahead of them followed as well.
Get back in the car! Both of you! Now!
Demanded Darren. Feeling helpless that his family was unresponsive, his attempt to pull or carry either of them back to the vehicle was met with exhaustion, burning muscles, shortness of breath, and lots of tears. The look in their eyes was distant. Tears fell down their cheeks. All Darren could do was follow them, reassuring them he will find a way to help. Before long, they were at the zoo. Screams coming from animals and people rang in the air. The animals were being released. The zoo had turned inside out. All creatures, big and small, herbivores and carnivores, prowled throughout the zoo, onto the highway, straight towards civilization. No one is left at the ticket stand entrance. There has always been an attendee as well, handing out brochures, welcoming and reminding guests not to feed the animals. Instead, their post smells of strong animal musk, urine, and fresh blood. Now inside, mother and daughter split paths. Darren stands, crying, not knowing which path to choose. He watches Isabel make her way towards the gorilla sanctuary. Corey heads to the spider monkeys. Isabel, in complete fright, watches her body approaching the employees-only door, leading into the gorilla's stomping ground. Finding use of her vocals, she screams for Darren. Corey is now able to speak as well.
Dad! Help! Mom!
Shouted Corey. Darren turned to help Isabel. Corey is met by 8 spider monkeys that are confused and frantic. The 8 lunges onto her. Muffled and blindsided, she loses her balance. Corey falls 17 feet into the barrier canal with the 8 spider monkeys, holding his wife tight as her body fights to free itself. He looks over towards Corey. She is gone. Her parents begin wailing in heartache for their little girl, mixed screams still swirling around them. Isabel's mouth frozen open in horror. She sees a giant crocodile behind Darren, quickly approaching. The crocodile clamps down on his left leg, his other limbs wailing and fighting against his demise. He is dragged away. Isabel, emotionally numb, stands in front of a beige door and turns the locked knob with force, dislocating some of her fingers in the process. Chapter 7. Come Undone. Hiroyuki sits up from the twin bed in his panic room. His head is aching from dehydration. The next day, Hiroyuki slowly opens his panic room, cautiously stepping out to what seems to be a normal sunshine-filled morning. His front door is open. He does not remember closing it yesterday after the incident. A rush of emotions overtake Hiroyuki as he looks down at his blood-stained shirt. Slamming the front door, he turns to run to wash the dried blood off him. Ready to jump in the shower, Hiroyuki trips and falls. A small dog jumps onto Hiroyuki's lap.
Sadie, come here, girl.
Dean calls out. He turns the corner from Hiroyuki's hallway. Sadie baby runs back to Dean. Hiroyuki follows her. Before Dean could explain himself, Hiroyuki had his arms wrapped around Dean, not wanting to let go, hoping for a split second Dean can fix all of it, just as easy as he tends to Hiroyuki's vehicles, his go-to mechanic and friend. The last time Hiroyuki gave anyone such a tight hug, he was just 5 years old. 5-year-old Hiroyuki was sitting in the hospital waiting area. A nurse was keeping an eye on him from her station. His father passed away a year prior from radiation poisoning when he came in contact within the plant he worked at. It killed him within 4 months. Walking down the hospital hall, he hears his aunt's voice calling out to him, his mother's twin sister. That helped with the grieving that was to come. He ran to her, giving her the tightest hug a 5-year-old can give. Dean and Hiroyuki are sitting at his breakfast hutch, overlooking the water and clear view of Hiroyuki's expensive tugboat.
What happened to your eyes? And
Dean's questions are interrupted.
Binoculars. And no, it wasn't my blood.
Hiroyuki said solemnly, his hair still damp from his quick shower.
I'm sorry to have barged in the way I did, but aside from my landlady and Benny, who I couldn't find, you are the only other person I know. I also know you have a tugboat. I need to get to my parents' farm. It's near Seattle. The roads are insane. Everything is...
Dean breaks down crying. Hiroyuki keeping his gaze upon the coastal waters past his tugboat. A chill creeps up his spine. He shakes it off.
We will need supplies. We can load up the tugboat today and leave in the break of dawn.
Hiroyuki decided. All around the world, men that were unscathed by the horrific event were roughly between the ages of 20 through 59 years of age. Some were heading to high mountaintops. Some went on foot with just walking sticks. Others were trying to barter goods for anything that had wheels, especially bicycles. Some argued if this same determination had been put toward fixing this planet, they would not be on horseback trying to flee from their mistakes. Others were doing their best to help their families. The selfless men, on the other hand, stayed to help. Cowards they were not. They helped the elderly. They helped the women and children, all by physically securing them down. Countries were blaming each other, calling it terrorist attack from biochemical or geoengineering quakes. Scientists all around the world were keeping the leaders from pushing the button. Still, nuclear weapons were armed and ready. And then there were those who tragically lost all sense of sanity. They were either committing suicide or going on murder sprees, taking out anyone they deemed infected. It didn't matter who they were. Dawn breaks. Dean wakes up first to Sadie baby snuggling her head against his neck. Hiroyuki calls to Dean.
Use anything you can find that fits. The utilities have been shut off. We need to go.
Hiroyuki grabbed his weapons, a gun, hunting knife, and a slingshot from his closet. Hiroyuki's closet looked like something out of a magazine.
Wow, it's bigger on the inside, bigger than my living room,
said Dean. Shelves for hats, sunglasses, jewelry, and watches displayed over a felt-lined shelf. Shoes for all occasions and styles. His clothes, on the other hand, were simple, with only 5 colors: beige, brown, white, black, and gray. Dean chose a white-collared shirt from Brooks & Brothers and corduroy brown pants. On the bed lay a bow and 14 arrows and a staff.
Those are for you,
Hiroyuki said. His bed is elevated 12 inches off the ground. It is a modern platform bed. The base is built into the wall.
That's really cool,
stated Dean. Hiroyuki grabbed a black military duffel bag, full of clothes he chose for himself last night. The chaos outside sounded like a movie. Walking outside, they both looked at each other and ran quietly. Surprisingly, Sadie baby kept quiet, trembling in fear, but quiet as Dean held her close like a football. The tugboat started up. They were on their way. made sure not to stray too close to the coastline, but just enough distance to see it. Or so was their plan. Hiroyuki hadn't sailed but a couple yards. Then he saw them. Hiroyuki steps back and throws up, all over a novelty decor of an old copper-age deep-sea helmet. Dean quickly takes control of the steering, trying his best not to dry heave from the vomit and stench of the rotting flesh. Steering through a plethora of drowned floating bodies. The water was murky and the smell rancid. For the most part, all were facing down. Some were washed up shore, but then pulled back into the water, as if the sea wasn't done with them yet.
They're okay. They are going to be just fine. But they have a bunker-like basement, you know. Dad and Mom even have a mini fridge, where Dad keeps his Dr. Pepper and...
Dean says, with a big, forced smile and tears. A mile from them, they see what looks like a rocket shuttle, wiping the vomit from his lips and gargling Fiji bottled water. Hiroyuki watches the rocket.
Looks like some are trying to leave,
said Hiroyuki in disgust. Submarines across the world, many with women, sailors, and 18 to 19-year-old men who had not been compromised by the rust-colored mist that carried the deadly spores.
I repeat, do not surface. Do not open the hatch.
The message was coming through. Throughout the international channels, some did not listen. Hiroyuki was hearing the news of the submarines through his CB radio. The waters in front of them began to rise.
Tidal wave!
Screamed Dean. A shiny dark mass with eyes, the width of the creature a mile long.
Ding. Ray.
Whimpered Hiroyuki in complete horror, trembling and holding on to the tugboat. His knees are struck with fear. His leg muscles become like jello, unable to keep his balance. Around the world, aquatic, gigantic sea creatures are rising. Unspeakable in description. Mankind could not be able to wrap their head around the frightful sights, rising from the depths and trenches of the sea, where none had ever really explored. And great beasts were coming up from the sea, different from one another.